Earlier, I caught up with Independent Senator Jacqui Lambie and began by asking her for her thoughts on the passage of the electoral reform bill.
Well, you always know what to make of. First of all, it's always a problem when the two parties vote together. You always say, well, that's probably going to be a problem when they agree on something. And I think the second thing was there were so many amendments that went through within that hour of that bill going through, because we also got gabba taped, as I like to call it, because basically it was controlled. We only had an hour and a half to actually talk about it and get those amendments through. None of those amendments have been through the committee process. That is really, really bad for democracy. But I think Australians know what I do. When those major parties want to talk about electoral reform, when we have a cost of living crisis out there, and that's one of the last things that they're worried about putting through after this Senate sitting week, because no doubt we will not be back. I think that says it all of where they are. They don't give a stuff about their cost of living. What they care about is having power, and they care about feathering their own nests. And I think last night that was a true statement made by both the major parties.
Don Farrell says if an independent can't win their seat with $800,000 cap, they're in the wrong game.
Yeah, well, you know
what do you say to that?
I say this, Don Farrell is wrong, and I would remind people out there that my start, and even though I had sold off my house and used my own money and put about $150,000 of what I had left behind me, I would never be here today had it not been for a billionaire and his kindness to get me where I am and where I've got today. And I will never forget that. Nobody else will have an opportunity now to be able to do that. So I will let the people of Australia judge what they think about my statement with Clive Palmer.
If you get to the next election, after the next election, and it's a hung parliament, they need your help in the Senate to do any deal with the next government or to agree to anything, will you try and overturn this bill as a starting point? Have you given up on this now that it's gone through the parliament, or will you seek to try and overturn it?
Look, being a part of that balance of power is a very fickle situation to be in. You have to be really, really careful. Can we bring that back and make changes to that? Is that on my agenda today? Absolutely not, because it's about a cost of living. At the moment, we have lost that war. Right now, that can sit over here, and if we come back with that balance of power, oh, sure, I imagine it's going to be a fight from hell. But right now, what's more important is the cost of living out there. And I think that's what blows me away. Last sitting week, when we could have been making changes here to people and giving them a better deal on the cost of living out there, doing grocery prices, reducing all that, they just gave up. And I think that's the biggest sadness for the country today.
What's your view on the threat of tariffs from the second Trump administration? Are you concerned this undermines the support among everyday Australians for the US alliance if they say we're contributing $500 million last week to $500 million to the AUKUS deal, and then a week later we cop tariffs?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't have been passing that cheque over last week, that's for sure. That was not a good thing to do. There are other countries out there that have been told tariffs will be put on them. Now, if the PM hasn't picked up that phone and started negotiations with those other countries to stand together as one, then he's already failing to do that job. If you do not stand up to somebody like Trump, then we're all going to wear the price. Right now, you have other countries. Get on that phone, mate. You be the leader in this and take it over and stand together as one. I'd also say this. We have 2,500 Marines sitting in Darwin at the moment. We control around that Pacific area. We are the ones in control of the communications. The US their submarines have no communications without us. We could shut that down tomorrow. Why isn't he saying, listen, mate, I've also got these things going on. Don't play with me. But right now, the best thing he could be doing is getting on to those other countries out there and going, we need to stand together. Because right now, Donald Trump's picking us off one by one, and we have no idea what he's doing now, let alone in 10 minutes' time. That's where Albanese needs to be. If he's a true leader, then take the bull by the horns and start leading those other countries. Open that communication, because you're already on short timeline.